Hello, my name is Brian Gleiss, and I'm joined by Matt Spate and Mark Blassie. We are your benefit builders. Today, we are going to put out our third installment of our podcast that is designed to help our business owners get the most out of their employee benefits program. Today, our topic is going to be surveys. It may not be something that you've thought about, or maybe it's been something that you've done multiple times. But we as a group have had good success with surveys, using those surveys with your employee population so that we can make sure that we identify the points that are most important to your employees, creating that space in your work environment that helps you retain employees and attract some of the best employees out there. Now, Mark, I'm going to pitch it to you first because you and I have done this with a large municipality with hundreds of employees inside of that. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the process? And I know you also have access to a document that I will put up on the screen to show everybody, and we can get you that document and work with you on that document. So Mark, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Employee surveys certainly are a means to gather feedback from your most important asset, your employees. The timing is critical. The planning of the survey instrument is important because it's a way for you to measure the engagement you have with your employees. We found that broadening the topics away from just one specific ask, as an example, just about employee benefits, gets better results. Because in today's environment, it's important for employers like yourself who are investing in this critical asset to determine where your employees are in their life cycle, what they need to be productive. So it's just not about employee benefits, Brian, as you said, but as it relates back to the pillars of excellence, that pillar of communication is very critical in today's environment.
And now, Mark, one of the things that you touched on was timing. And Matt, I want you to talk a little bit about the timing of things. We know that January and June are the two most prevalent start dates. But can you speak to the business owners out there that they're not locked in to anything as far as a contract that says you have to go from 1/1 all the way to 1/1? Talk a little bit about that.
No, that's exactly right, Brian. One of our specific programs that we sell through, as Brian stated, have several dates throughout the year that a lot of our renewals come through. However, we don't have to live and die by those dates. So especially if you as an employer don't like your renewal date, it's a busy time of year, we can move that. We can do this midterm. We can start you on a new date. I've got one employer right now that the fall is a horrible time for them, and we're trying to move their date to a summer date. So that would be a great thing to consider if that's a concern.
So the surveys also have a unique timing. We don't suggest to put those surveys out right before renewal. We suggest the surveys to be right in the middle of the renewal time frame because all the stress is off. We're not having to push, because we've only got 30 days before renewal or anything to that effect. And then with us being your benefit builders, that's exactly what we can do off of that survey. I like to call Mark Blassie the account architect because he brings the pieces of the puzzle together. What you might find from your employee survey is that your employees are confused on where they can get information at. They might not have easy access to the website. They may not have easy access to the Teledocs phone number. There might be some mental health concerns with your employee population. And when I say mental health concerns, it may be that Johnny's having some troubles at home because he's taking care of his aged or infirm parents, or Susie has, God help Susie, but she's got 3 teenagers at home and they're really, really stressing her out. But the standard mental health benefit on your policy doesn't react timely enough. So we can look at an EAP, an employee assistance program. Surveys, when we give it to your employees, can also bring out items that are not employee benefit related. And I'm going to call that a blessing and not a curse, because I know when we went through those employee surveys with the county, there was other pieces of information. And there's a saying out there that there's no such thing as bad press. And that's what I'm going to tell you about these employee surveys. We use them to our advantage. We don't do a survey every year, but we find it helps people tune in to the needs of their employees.
I feel a lot of employers are reluctant to do a survey because they're scared what the employees are going to want or complain about or ask for. A lot of employers will have a sealed box in the break room where the employees can drop notes in. This is different because you pick the questions that you want to ask your employees, and not that they can't comment on other subjects like Brian said, but you're telling us and we're helping you design the survey to ask the questions that pertain to your benefits program and what we can do to make that program better.
Right. And when the survey comes in, we certainly don't have a problem. It's our concierge service of compiling those surveys, giving you the idea of what the answers are. Anonymity to the employees can be extremely important, and quite honestly, it can be extremely helpful. So not only do we have the document that guides us on best practices as far as employee surveys, we're happy to extend that to you, but we'll also help you build the employee survey. Mark, any other thoughts on it?
Both you and Matt brought up some key points that I'd like to put in the box of preparing for and the administration of the survey instrument. It's important that employees feel comfortable that two things are going to happen. The confidentiality of their responses is maintained, and also that the employer is actually going to use the responses. So it's important that upfront employers understand when you commit to the survey, you're committing to taking the results and putting them into action. That's where we find that you achieve better engagement, because you're measuring things that are important to not only the employer, because that's what you're going to shape your questions around, but it's also important that you use the information and you build trust and you build credibility with your employees. And we're here to help you understand those factors. We're here to share templates. We're here to help you deliver it, get those survey results back, and then do something meaningful with them.
And that right there is one of the reasons why I like to call Mark Blassie the architect, is because not only does he have the foundation with the best practice documents that we use, he helps us with those rails to run on. So at this point, I'm actually going to present you guys with a challenge. If you haven't ever done an employee survey, if your particular advisor has not suggested an employee survey, let us show you what being benefit builders actually means. And Mark said, walk the walk and talk the talk. Get the respect of your employees. If we find out that employees say that the deductible is too high, it doesn't mean we'll lower the deductible, because that will cost you more money. But what it does mean is we may talk to you about an HRA program, a health reimbursement program, or maybe a GAP plan. And I'm using buzzwords. But the first thing that we have to understand is the pain point of your employees before we can address those. So we are running up on 11 minutes. Not every single one of our podcasts needs to be 30 minutes or an hour long. Our goal is to give you information that you can digest and you can take action on, guys. Closing thoughts, Matt?
No, I think this was a good topic, and we would love to hear from you and work up something that'll work for you and your employees.
Mark?
Measuring interests of your employees in today's environment can help not only retain, but it can also give you insight in how to attract those critical workers.
Excellent. We are your benefit builders. Let us show you exactly how we build the benefits around your employees, around your organization, so that it makes sense to everyone. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Have a good time.